much for tuning in again. Wednesday night this time instead of Friday. We're delighted to welcome tonight the head coach of EHC Freiburg and more importantly the GB senior team, Peter Russell. Peter's going to be spending a bit of time talking to everybody tonight about the journey that the GB senior team have been on over the last two or three years, amongst other things. Usual sort of rules apply, guys. If you have any questions, please stick them in the chat box and we'll do our best to answer all of them. If you could all keep your microphones on mute, that would be great. And then, like we say every week as well, the best way to kind of watch these webinars is if you watch it on the gallery view. That way you just see the person that's actually talking and not everyone else that's on the call. So yeah, like we said through the media announcements last week, Barry, Martin and I had a little week off to recharge and start planning the next sort of stages of these webinars and the Friday Night Lives and who we're going to get on and how we're going to do it. We did say this week was going to be a busy week, starting tonight with Pete. And then we also announced today that we've got Liam Kirk and Sam Duggan are going to be joining us on Friday night for Friday Night Live. And there's also going to be a goalie webinar. The third part of Colin Grubb's goalie webinar is going to be this Saturday, and possibly to be confirmed still some more fitness sessions for the kids on Sunday afternoon. But tonight, like I say, it's all about Peter Russell and listening to what Pete's got to say. Peter, thanks very much for joining us. How's life been over in Germany during this pandemic?
Yeah, I think it's much the same as over there, except of course we're getting to play hockey at professional level, but there ain't much to do. You go to the rink in the morning and come back to the house. The highlight of the day is going to the grocery store. You know, I think that's really it after practice. But yeah, it's just, I guess the same as everybody. You just have to keep trying to stay sane and find things to do to put up your time. I think Netflix has become a real good friend of mine the last 6-7 months. You know, I don't know how many series I've watched on there, but it's fine. I'm just happy to keep my mind going in the hockey and things like that. You know, miss my family and everything, but I think it's a privilege to firstly coach and play and make money, because it's hard for everybody else. They're not getting to do that, or even the kids as well over here don't get to play.
Yeah, definitely. I guess you're one of the lucky ones where you're in a country where at least you are playing hockey right now, although there's some challenges there. What are the differences between hockey in the UK and Germany in your sort of experience that you've had over the last sort of 7-8 months?
That's a good question. I think the kids hockey is more structured and they employ coaches over here in all the junior clubs. I think the other thing is there's a pathway for the elite kids that are, close. There's a lot of fellow contracts. It's like a development contract they get put on, so teams have to have them in the 2 top leagues. You have to have 20 and under. So you all have to. You can have 5, but every team has to have 2. Same as a DL. They're going up to 3 next year. I think that's a good opportunity for the kids, and then I think the pro hockey is just different. It's not as much contact. There's no fighting. There's no stuff like that. It's a lot of skill level. It's pretty fast. It's more open, big ice everywhere. So I think it's there's quite a good tempo to the games. Yeah,
and obviously you're away from British ice hockey just now, but obviously you'll be keeping in touch with things, especially as you're gearing up for the World Championships with the GB teams. It must have been music to your ears when you heard about the Elite League series that they're going to be running in the next few weeks. How does it help you when you try and plan your World Championship team when there's been no hockey here for so long and there's been so many players not playing? How has your preparations been, and how did you feel about the Elite League announcing their series of games that they're going to be playing over the next few weeks?
I think the first thing is you want everybody to play hockey over there. My Saturday night last year was always watching games. I used to love Saturday night, and I'd sit in some food, watch the Elite League, flick between all the games at different times. I used to watch it non-stop. I miss home, of course. Do you know what I mean? I think the toughest thing, like we started late, and there was a long break here. We never started till October, and you could see the difference even then with people with a long layoff. So I think guys are going to get to play for 5 weeks, but it's a it's a hell of a layoff. You know, it's a long layoff. You know, some of the guys have played a little bit in that NHL thing as well. But I think just for guys to get in the ice, I think the big thing is mentally as well for them, just to be training again and practicing, going to the gym. I think just be competing again. It's hard, you know, yourself when you don't do something for a long time and you try and jump on again. You don't feel the same. You know, your gear doesn't feel the same. Your head's not working the same for the first two things, and I think the body's obviously not the same. I think the standard they're going to go and play in at the World Championship, not laughing, but the standard we go and play in was hard enough last year after a real season. So they'll either go two ways. It'll either be even harder, or maybe they'll be fresher than anybody else because they've hardly played. You know, you don't know. I think the older guys will want to keep their bodies going. I think that's the important thing. The really experienced guys, they need to be in the ice. You know, they need their bodies moving mechanically. Things seize up a little bit, but I've talked to a few people. They seem really excited. I'm happy for them all. You know, I think it's great that they're doing something in the Elite League, stuck at it and found a way, you know, to try and put this on. And I think that they'll do a good job of it. It's going to be in a great arena in Nottingham, and hopefully they can stay corona-free and injury-free, and they get to play all their games. You know, I think that's important. And also, I think the other big thing, as I've noticed, is I like the draft idea. It's kind of cool, the draft idea. Maybe they can adapt that to what I talked about. Maybe some younger players each year coming in and they draft them. So the bottom teams get the best young kids and the top teams maybe don't get the best ones all the time. And they try and maybe integrate some young players. It might be a way they go. I think it was a kind of cool thing, like watching it back. I think guys, when I spoke to Doucette a little bit in Nottingham, they were kind of enjoying it. They were like, what do you think of this guy? And they were kind of, because they've missed hockey, you know, like even the people are running it. So I think I really like the draft idea. I think it's a cool thing. You know, there's a lot of young players going to get a chance that wouldn't get a chance to play in the Elite League, maybe right straight away. But so we'll see. Maybe someone pops up, Stephen. You know, you maybe some young guy you don't really think goes into that level and shows up. You know, and he gets a chance by surprise.
And have you got everybody that's potentially going to be in your national team squad, or all the players that you're thinking about at least? Have you got? Are all of them going to be playing hockey now at least, even be it just in the short term?
Yeah, there's a long list, which was together anyway, and we left the long list open at the bottom to see if anybody pops up. There obviously comes a time when people like Andy Buxton and that have to have a team. They need to know. I think the big challenge this year, and it sounds a stupid challenge, was equipment. Because there's no teams playing, and the teams are really good at letting the guys come away with sticks and things like that. And now they have to order sticks because there's no hockey, you know. So I think that side of things for a 6-week order, they've got to kind of put a couple of names in early, you know. And I think, but there's a door open for people if they really show up. You know, we want to try and give them that chance. You know, we do want to try that. So yeah, I'm excited to see it. You know, to see what happens. You know, there's going to be a lot of British players and they have a chance. Everybody says the Brits don't get a chance. You've got a chance now, so let's see what they do with it. I think that's you got to take your chance, you know. And kind of when I talk in a presentation later, I took my chance, and some people have to take a chance. You know, it's not be scared and no fear, just take a chance, you know. And these young guys are there. Maybe I'm hoping a couple show up and maybe they go to the Elite League next year. They're surprised by them. That'd be really nice to see that happening.
Absolutely, definitely. Well, listen, you mentioned you had a little presentation for us. So if you want to share your screen rather than just me firing questions at you,
about 40 slides, it'll not take long.
If you want to go through your presentation that you've put together, and then if you're happy, we can open the floor for some questions and answers from some of the people on the.
How do I move this away? This part here. Oh,
Martin, that's where you join in.
Where's this?
Right, Peter, see if you hit slideshow.
Yeah.
It's from beginning. From beginning.
Okay. Can you see this?
Yeah, we can see it now. That's it, full screen now.
Okay. Like this is thanks for having me. This is something a little bit different, but I'm trying to maybe take you through a little journey, how it kind of came about, and then how we decided what we're going to do with the team and what we thought had to change. And then a little bit about the journey for success. So I called this the journey of a lifetime because I don't know if I'll ever get another journey like this, the way it worked out. So, you know, I think the first thing is how everything happens. I remember at the time I was coaching in Okanagan in Swindon, the program there, and I was also coaching the GB20s, and we were away actually with the 20s just in December, and we were in Estonia and we won a gold medal really quickly. Really great experience. You know, to go back, that was my first year back head coach again as that team. I took a couple of years out, and then I know the senior team were looking for a new coach at the time, and I don't think they kind of got who they wanted. So I think that kind of was a last resort, to be honest. That's the way I took it. So I remember getting a phone call for Jim Anderson. I love Jim Anderson. He was great to me, Jim Anderson, and he helped me massively in my career at that time. He was a strong believer in me, and went a lot of trips with him and Alma McGregor. They were fantastic. They actually helped me start to love hockey again. They were really supportive. And I got first call came from Andy French to tell me on Christmas Day that Jim Anderson was going to call me and offer me the senior team job. And he called me because he thought I'd think it was a joke. And if he called, I'd just be going, "Who is this? This is a joke." So what happened was on Boxing Day, Jim called and wanted me to coach a senior team. And I said, I need to think about it. So I spoke to a couple of people, and all I heard was people saying, "Oh, you're a kids coach, not ready. The team will fail. It's a bad situation." So I remember speaking to my wife, Kate, and she said, "Well, you've always said you wanted to prove people wrong, and you've got a passion for hockey and a passion for GB." She goes, "And you'll never know till you do something, so you can't hide from it." So basically, that's where it all started. And I said to Jim, "Yeah, let's go, let's do it, let's try it." So the GB team at the time was having a tough time, so we thought we thought Tommy Watkins was going to coach a team with me. I think you all know Tommy. Tommy's in Telford. Great guy, played GB International, has played for the Coventry Blaze most of his life. He got a testimonial. He's a family man. He's a brilliant person. Somebody I'd coached the junior teams with. I really trusted him. So we started talking about what we wanted to do because what was missing, we thought, to try and build something. So we came up with not just about systems and stuff. We came up with some values and pillars that we thought was missing. So to the kids, that means the feeling in the team, and the trust, like if you have a friend. So we wanted to go with the trust, and we wanted to create a respect environment where everybody respected each other. Not I'm saying they didn't before. The other thing we wanted to create was some positivity, because we felt that GB was looked upon as negative at the time. People said they weren't good enough, and it was all negative. So we wanted to make sure that we wanted to make it positive again, make guys feel positive. Pride, I think, being Scottish, we kind of have a lot of pride, you know, a small country, and we kind of have that chip in our shoulder that we think the world's against us half the time, and it's not really. We're just that way. We've got that bit in us. We wanted to be hardworking, and we wanted people to be accountable, which to the kids means if you do something good, great, and if you do something wrong, you have to hold your hand up and deal with it. And we wanted the team to be more disciplined, because we felt we took a lot of penalties when we watched things before. And we wanted it to be enjoyable, because hockey should be fun. It really be fun. So then it came to the point we thought, what's the vision? So we started with we wanted to get promoted to Pool B. That was the aim of the association at the time. The team had finished 4th or 5th the year before, in the first year we went, which was in Holland. And then we thought, like, how do we get that? So we came up with build a hungry team that was motivated. A committee lineup that would battle and compete, because we felt that's what Scotland and England and Wales is all about. You know, they're countries that battle all the time and they want to compete. So we tried to make sure our culture was going to be about that. Then we wanted to have people that were mentally and physically strong, not just talented. We wanted to make sure people could stick at it. Great special teams. So the power play and our penalty kill had to be better, because they were going to make a difference in games, we felt. And then the big one for us was find the goalie, because, you know, we had good goalies. Stephen Murphy and Lily were there, and then Bouncy was coming through. And Lily and Murph had carried the program for a long time. They were getting a little bit older, and Bouncy was the new guy. So we wanted to make sure that we gave that, and we went with great goaltending. We felt that was important to make sure our team was strong enough. The other thing that, you know, I've always been quite a people person, even when I was younger. Stephen and Martin will laugh. I've always connected well with people. I could get on with people. I had a bit of a temper when I was younger, but you know, I think I've lost that a little bit. But I think we wanted to connect people. We wanted to make it like a family, because when you're playing your hockey teams, you're all missing your friends just now, because they're like your family when you go to the rink. You know, you probably hate them sometimes and you love them other times. You know, I think every family works that way. That's because you care about each other. We wanted that family environment, so we created a real bond of strength. A culture of commitment. So we wanted to have standards. So like at school, when they tell you to line up outside the class, you know, be dressed properly and come in and sit down and don't talk when teacher's talking. We wanted our standards, and we wanted, again, accountable. And we wanted to have pride and honour, because I think when you play for your country, it's the biggest thing in the world you can ever do. It's a huge honour, and I think we forget about that sometimes. I think the world went a funny way, and we wanted to make sure that guys were proud to come and play and had huge honour playing for their country, which we had. I'm trying to buzz through this. It gets more exciting, don't worry. Year one, we wanted positivity. I keep talking about positivity, but we wanted to be positive whatever happened. We wanted the team to be unified as a group. We wanted to keep reinforcing the standards and the new process and the model that we put in place. We're not going to change it, but we would correct and accept it. You know, and that means if we thought something wasn't right, we would adapt, and then we would accept that and move on. We weren't scared to make small changes if it had to happen, because we believed the process, that the philosophy I had would work, you know, so we had to just stick at it and believe in it. The big one was we were going to remove individuals who wouldn't accept it, because at a professional level, you need to make sure that people are willing to correct and accept, or you get in a problem. You know, it's not good. You know, everybody has to be willing to correct and accept mentality and not just stay with the same old ways. So we wanted to make sure we made it modern and fresh. And what I'll add to that is we have got an amazing captain in Jonathan Phillips, who helped massively with all this. But I was spoiled in the first years. We had Shields, and we had Clark, we had Myers, we had Weaver, we had Lyle, we had Murphy. We had huge experience in the group who helped with this. They helped control the dressing room. Leadership style, again, positive, and I wanted it to be the way I am, people first. I think it was not hockey first, people first. Make them feel special. I think when you're a coach, whether you're coaching professional or kids, I think they come and they're excited to come to the rink. And I think they have to stay excited to get the best out of people. You got to talk to them. You got to connect with them, because, you know, kids or men or ladies all want to feel wanted and feel inspired, and we have to do that. So that comes through empowering the players. You know, as I got older in coaching, I learned that just yelling at people is not getting you anywhere. You don't empower them. We wanted the players to feel, and I still do when I coach my teams, to feel special and feel inspired again. So you empower them with positivity and direction and praise. We had a committee team, management team. We wanted enjoyment, and again, we wanted to mirror the passion and pride. Relation-based. I always like to get to know my players, whether I'm working a hockey school, or I'm coaching a junior team, or a Okanagan team, or a pro team, or a national team. We want to get to know them, so we lots of meetings and fun and getting to know people, because you got to be able to if something's wrong, know how to help a player. If something's good, know how to talk to them. So I use a thing called listen, learn, and lead. So I like to listen to people and learn off them, and then use that, you know, little comments that I know trigger them to try. And so we tried to work with that. The other one was negativity would not be tolerated. On the last 5 years of the national team, I think we were negative once. We're playing against Holland and Belfast, and it was the middle game, and it wasn't going good after the first period. And it's the only time I think I lost my temper in 5 years in the dressing room. The only time ever. And I remember walking out the room and listening to the captains and David Clark, and they were mirroring what I said, because they knew what I was talking about. As we go on to this slide, we were going towards something, a process that we didn't want something to go wrong again. The big thing again that we talked about was not criticising each other or the players in front of players. Just sticking to the process. You know, not like, I think if you're in a team with your teammates in junior or whatever you're on, or coaches, if there's something wrong, you shouldn't criticise them in front of people. There's a way to do that. You know, there's obviously you have to give people direction sometimes, but to criticise another coach or a player in a bad way at a certain time, we didn't want that. We wanted everybody to be unified and be on the same page. I'm trying to buzz through this. We wanted identity to match the culture. So if you, the culture's like the classroom, the identity is the way we were going to be prepared and the way we're going to play. So we wanted to be well prepared. So we had a system, a system we're going to play, and we've kept it the whole time. We've adapted, but we became a really aggressive hockey team. We never sat back and waited. We tried to be proactive, but very organised. I wanted them to be a second and third effort team, which means not just chasing for the first puck, that we want to be second first and then third first. We want to make sure that we just keep coming relentlessly. So when you're playing, when you're a kid, you just keep competing, you keep playing, don't think so much, you know, keep battling, keep going. We wanted to make sure the discipline, timekeeping, not being late for anything, shift length, not staying in the ice for longer than 40 seconds, quick changes, and take the penalty minutes down, and good reactions. We felt that sometimes we didn't do ourselves any favours with referees, you know, bad body language, talking back. We wanted to change that and keep the focus in the game. The big one was what we believed that we had to do to compete at the higher level and to try and get up was we had to be conditioned. So we had to play a 60-minute game, and we had to use 4 lines. We couldn't play 3-line hockey anymore. We had to be better. We had to get the best out of everybody to have energy and be relentless. And we wanted to be skilled, playing fast. We wanted to keep possession, and we wanted to not throw the puck away. And we wanted to try and play with tempo and out-compete teams. Okay, I'm going to buzz like this here. We're going to go through this. We don't want this. This is too much. Okay, the learning years. The first 2 years we coached the team, we lost both gold medal games. It was really hard. The first year we were dominating the game against Lithuania, and we came against a hot goalie. He was an SHL goalie that was playing for Lithuania. We just couldn't score past him, and we beat all the top teams, and it was a tough one. Makes me shake when I think about that. They played unbelievable, the team, and we couldn't score, and we ended up winning a silver. Same thing happened in Croatia. We got to the last period and we blew the game. I made a couple of mistakes in that game. I got scared and I told the guys to lock a little bit and not be as aggressive. But I remember a couple of things that happened. This isn't picking at people, but I remember Seth asking me after the game, have you took the team as far as you can? I remember that comment, have you took the team as far as you can? I remember people on the outside, it's time for mass change, out with the old and with the new. So they wanted us to change everybody, you know, the experience and everything. We're second year into a process. I think the big question what I asked myself after this was, could we be better as coaches and as a team? 100% we could have been. But my view to both those questions about if the team went as far as we can, was it time for mass change? I didn't agree. I thought we were 2 years into something new and we had a goal. And I thought that the experiences we gained from those tournaments made us the team we became. I think it made me a stronger coach, and it also gave the guys a fire in their stomachs to really come back and be stronger mentally. The next year we went to Belfast with the home nation, and we started the tournament well, and we dominated the tournament. No one was close to us in every area. We won the first gold medal in 25 years, and then we got promoted and we went to Budapest. So this was for me, the first 2 years helped us. We were better coaches, we were better organised, we were hungrier than ever to win the gold medal. And I remember looking in that room at grown men, really experienced hockey players that done everything all their careers for GB, never won. It's the first gold medal they won with the senior team, crying with excitement, and it was an amazing feeling. You know, to be honest, we thought we'd reached our peak. We're going to go up to the next pool, and then we went to Budapest. Budapest is Pool B's top hockey. The first game we played in that tournament, we played against a team that played in the Olympics the year before. We're going to face some amazing teams. We were the heavy favourites to be relegated. So we've just come up from the third pool, we're into the second pool, and they were thinking that we wouldn't win a game. Did we agree? Well, we didn't agree, because we felt that we came through a journey that we were ready to surprise people. So we decided to dare to dream. We used that as the phase for the whole week. It was 10 days, was we were daring to dream. So we were there to cause an upset. Our biggest strength was the culture I talked about and our identity now. We trusted it and we believed in it, and we didn't change any of it. We didn't change how we played. We didn't sit back. And I felt that we were mentally strong enough, and I think the players had the same feeling. And then the rest was history. So I got a little video here, I think. There you go. You know, when I watched that, to put that in simple terms, the last goal, there's 12,000 people in that stadium, 12,000, probably 11,600 Hungarian fans, just going wild because they're going to Pool A. The whole stadium was rocking. Like, you could feel the bench at the back shaking, and noise was just through the roof. There was we called a timeout with 45 seconds to go, and we tried to put a face-off up. We'd try if we keep getting a draw, and we talked just about rolling around and throwing pucks to his feet. And you know, the place is going bananas. They're going to Pool A, and then Bobby Farmer does it again. He's done it for me all the way through as well. Throws the puck to their feet, and the biggest thing I remember is, from the loudest noise I've ever been in an arena with to the quietest I've ever heard. And we were just going absolutely crazy. Like that was an amazing moment for everybody. And then we were going to Pool A. So from a team that couldn't get out of the C pool, we came out of the C pool, dominated. We had the strength. Like, that team had something in it. You know, it still had something special in it. Never say die. And then we get the chance to come here. You know, we go to Pool A. They're the best hockey players in the world, and everybody was stacked up. Like even the draft picks were there and everything. It was just amazing. I think we're all thinking, what's happening here? I remember the first day we got there, people are just looking around the arena, and people are walking past you and they're going, oh, there's McKinnon, and there's, and I don't have any idea. I don't really watch the NHL. I watch football, but they're seeing NHL players, and it was surreal. It was a huge stage, like an unbelievable challenge, and for everybody. So, and you know, people were scared. I don't think we were scared. I think we're excited. I think we're really happy to be there and happy to see what it was going to be like. Again, you start thinking, can special things happen? Well, I think already the year before we proved a really special thing could happen. Mentality that we talked about, daring to dream the year before. This time we came up with something called the peak end. So that means we tried to get the players to focus that it would come down to one game, because we knew we couldn't beat Canada and we couldn't beat USA and we couldn't beat all these teams. So what we wanted to do was not get negative and just concentrate, keep them thinking about the last game. And then again, they never gave up, you know, and then this happened.
Peter, is there sound in that?
I think so.
See if you just stop it. We can't hear the sounds. See if you just Pause that just now, Peter. See if you just
away.
unshare it, and then share it again.
Stop share.
Stop share and then share again, and there's a wee tick box for sound.
You're here. Don't know if that's going to work. This here? Yeah, share.
Share.
What's the tick box? Here?
No, it's when you're actually sharing.
Wait up. So I stop the share.
Stop the share.
Stop the share. And then what do I do?
Go to share screen. Hold on. Share screen.
Oh no! Wait there. How do I go back the way here?
Right. See if you go to share screen, Peter, and then right, and then down the bottom left-hand corner, there's a wee tick box that says share sound.
There we get a technical problem here. Share sound. Share sound. Right there.
Right there.
Where's the presentation though?
It should be one of the ones there. Fair point.
Let me try this one. Coming up?
Nope. Yeah, see if you just go to...
What the hell's Zoom? See, I'm a hockey coach, not a computer guru.
So what slide you on?
Back.
Yeah.
So where have I gone? Your sharing screen has paused. How do I get out of that? Dot bottom. Right there. Share sound. Resume share. Is that us?
Yeah,
can you see that?
Back. Yeah. So, but what slide are we on?
Current slide. Okay, we're going to buzz through this. Sorry. I should have went to school. Okay, this should be it now.
Yeah, for me, they didn't have schools down there.
Oh, can you hear it?
Yeah, that's better.
So this happened. And this was the very last game of the tournament after 6 games in 8 days or 9 days.
Great Britain face France. 22nd in the world against 13th in the world. It is an uphill task. There is absolutely no doubt about that for GB. They come in on the back of 6 straight defeats, some of them heavy, morale sapping, energy sapping, and confidence breaking. But they must show fortitude mentally to come out and face a French side who have nothing else on their mind other than beating Great Britain handily and ensuring that they stay up for yet another season in the top echelon of world ice hockey.
We dared to dream last year, and this year we have another chance. Getting here was just a phenomenal achievement, and not to stay up would be even bigger. And I think we have a chance.
I mean, we don't want to be a team that comes up and goes down. I mean, it happens to lots of teams at this level, but we're proud, and we don't want that to happen to us. We'd love to be back here again, playing against the world's elite next season.
D-Day for GB against France, and we're underway. Goes on to Manavian, finds the last man, shot comes in, goal France! Tessier, back he goes again, Shakiashvili with a shot, he scores! So GB are 2-0 now, and there's another chance, a third goal! Relegation looms, Reg with his second of the game, and Great Britain are falling apart in this second period, as the top flight of world hockey slips away. Back-to-back goals in a matter of moments. And where GB were once on top, now they need more than a miracle. Good out by Ben, I've got a chance down low, what an opportunity, GB score! Robert down! And has he set them back on their way like he did in Budapest 12 months ago? Here's O'Connor. Thought about shooting, he's got 2 men ahead of him, tipped down in front, goal! Hammond scores! GB have cut the deficit again! Goes off the boards again, Phillips gets hit, great turn away from Jordan Farmer, Farmer scores! We're all tied at 3, and it's that man once again, Robert Farmer! And the lifeline is restored, we're level!
Is there nothing this team cannot do, Steph?
Face off in the zone. Oh, it's given away out in front. France with a chance. Blocker save, then it's blocked in front. Second chance, it stops again. High drama. GB are clinging on for dear life right now. Ben Davies comes out to try and win a face-off and he goes forward. Phillips will go after this one. He may have a breakaway here. It's Jonathan Phillips, the captain. Stops, checks, turns. He's got a man down the middle. Davies, can he score? Ben Davies wins it for Great Britain. And GB have done the impossible. They are staying up. In overtime, Great Britain beat France. And they're going to be elite again. They've pulled it out from 3-0 now. They win this game in overtime by 4 goals to 3. It is absolutely incredible.
I mean, you know, I think anything is possible. Like, you know, like, I'm from Ayr, and I was brought up playing hockey in the smallest rink I've ever been in, like Lincoln Road. We used to train in a place you couldn't play any more than 3-on-3. I never seen a coaching board till I was 20 years old. You know, we never had anything like that till I was in Slough, and Richard Beaupre and Scott Rex showed me the first coaching board. I never seen one before. And you know, I made a lot of mistakes when I was younger, for sure. Crazy, stupid mistakes. I was okay when I was younger at hockey, and I chose the wrong paths sometimes and didn't concentrate enough and just didn't get any better. If I was 14, 15 years old, I just stayed in the same rubbish path. It doesn't mean, you know, you learn from mistakes. I think without mistakes and lessons, you don't become the person you want to be. I had no interest in being a coach, and then I fell into it. And then the thing I have is, though, I love ice hockey. I love people, and I love learning. And I think the other thing I love doing is I love goals, and I love to set goals that I can achieve and how I'm going to get there. And I think as everybody, whether it's adults or kids, you should always set goals. I think goals are everything. You must have a goal, achievable goals, and then you can raise them. I think you must have action steps. You know, every team we talked about, I've coached in every team there, we had goals and action steps. Like that last goal, that makes me want to cry when I watch that still. That's a memory that will never leave my life. Like, to do that and pull A's, just a sensational feeling. You know, it's an amazing thing. You got to do what it takes as well. Nothing's given to you easy. You know, back to the first slide, when they offered me to the national team, no one thought I should get it. No one thought I should be doing it. Everybody didn't think I was good enough. Maybe I wasn't, but I gambled and took it, thanks to Kate telling me I should. And I done what it took, and I learned along the way, and I became a stronger person, a better person for it. I think you got to accept and correct. You're never always right, and you're never always wrong. But it's so important that you're willing to correct and accept in life, whether that's at school, whether that's at work, whether that's playing ice hockey, whether that's with your mum and dad. Where, you know, you've got to be willing to accept and correct. If you're not, you're going nowhere. You've got to be able to reset. And I think the big one is never stop believing. Like, people ask me what I said in the timeout, and we were struggling. Seth was right, but I wasn't thinking it was going to go wrong. I was just wanting to stop it and just stop the bleeding. And when he came to the bench, I said to them, there's 30 minutes left in this game. We are playing very, very well. And all I said was, last year there was 8 minutes left and we're 2-0 down. And we managed to find something. We nearly have 4 times that amount of time. Get the next goal and don't sit back and play against them. Don't stop believing. And they never. And you can see in those pictures, the first goal was, they were happy to get one. The second goal, if you look at the players' eyes, they're now smiling and having fun again. They're believing they're going to win. And because they never stopped, it made them feel good, and they had the experience before. And I think the big one is you should never stop dreaming. I'm still dreaming about things, you know what I mean, to try and do. And I think dreaming's allowed. We only live once, and dreaming's allowed. You should dream. Never be scared to dream. You should always have goals and aim to do everything you can, but you've got to do what it takes to get those goals. That's me. Is that it? I hope that wasn't too long.
No, Peter, I think it was great.
That was great, Peter. Thank you. Some great stories, great feel-good factor about the GB team over the last 2 or 3 years. Barry, Martin, you got anything you want to ask before we open the floor up to everyone else?
I would just think, Peter, you know, I think with the looks of it, do you think you've changed as a person since you've become a kind of more mature hockey coach and you've getting into hockey coaching scene? As a person, have you changed?
Yeah, I think when I was younger, I was just, you know, like, I think I was pretty good when I was 14, 15. Like, I was good, but I just never grew up. I never took it serious enough. I think a big moment was when I met Kate, to be honest, my wife. She's totally different from me. She's sensible and normal. And I think at that time when I went into coaching at first, it went pretty well quickly. When I was in Ayr, the junior program blew through the roof straight away at the Centrum, where we started dominating after 2 years. So I could do it, I got it, but I worked hard at it. But I was still messing around off the ice and stuff like that. And I think at some point you got to grow up. And I think I grew up. I think now, yeah, I'm 46 years old now. I know I look 23, but I'm 46, and I'm still young at heart. But I know what's right and wrong now. I know, I think I've had so many experiences. I know what I want to do. I'm constantly learning. I think it's important to keep evolving with the game and as a person. I think that's really important. But I think right now as a coach, I'm definitely confident, but not overconfident, and I believe in what I'm doing. But of course, you've got to change. Everybody changes to get older, but maybe some people don't. But I definitely have, 100%.
The other thing, Peter, I know you set out the mentality of the team with the presentation. It was really good to hear that, and it doesn't look like you changed your system. But was there anything that you done differently to face the top teams like USA, Canada, and Russia? As to face North France, and you just go with the same system?
I think we just played. People were talking about how bold we were, that we were on to full check with 2 guys still and try and. I've got a thing in hockey that if you sit back, you're just waiting for it to go wrong. It works sometimes, but you can't sit back. And players want to play. So if you're well drilled and you good structure and guys understand where they're tracking from, doesn't matter if you sit back. And I think you've got to play to your culture, and we wanted us to be passionate and have energy and have fun. So you must mirror that in the way you're going to play hockey. I think the only thing we really changed was we made a deal. I said to Corey and Keither and the captains, we're not going to get negative. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong. We are just going to look at the French results. We know it's the last game, and that's how we came up with the peak end. In fact, I can't take all credit for it. Nick Crawley talked to me about a peak end thing in his business, and that's where I stole it from. So the mentality was the only thing we changed. We knew we weren't going for gold. You know, we just tried to find a trigger that we could keep talking about. So we lost games and we just talked about, remember, it's about the peak end. We kept talking about the peak end, and then I guess trying to keep the players' mentality going so they didn't get, you know, Seth talked there about losing confidence. We never lost any confidence. No one lost confidence. Everybody was realistic about the situation we were in. And that was the thing from the outside. People think players lose confidence. We didn't lose confidence because we made sure that we weren't hard on them. We weren't negative. We tried to stay with it as much as we could.
I think it definitely worked, Peter. Definitely worked. Barry, what about you?
I think for the 3rd week in a row, you've stole my questions, Martin. I was going to touch on things like how you've changed as a person over the years, but I suppose one of the things that's always kind of stood out to me is about how you're a wee guy from Ayr that's in this big, you know, arena, so to speak, with the GB national team, and I suppose it's just that sort of motivation and how that translates to other coaches, you know, like young coaches coming through in Scotland and what they can achieve, that sort of thing, and for them to look up, you know.
I think everything is not like, you know, anything you do, you got to work hard at. You know, like, if you don't keep working hard, you won't stay there. Like, just because you get to a certain level, like, there's a lot of people went into coaching or got to a level and it drops off because they're there and they don't keep working hard at it. I just think that you got to keep working hard. And it's not just about drills and systems, it's about learning how to connect to people. You know, I think that when you work with people every day, you can't walk in a rink and, like, I've got a saying, when I have my teams, I don't want them to come to practice, I want them to come to play hockey. Because that means when you come to play hockey, you're enjoying it. And I think when they know we're going to practice, that means they're not looking forward to it. And it's like, I think there's a lot of things that if you can settle your team into that way, but obviously working them hard and being demanding, but I think it's a big part on the mental side. And I think the more experience you get, the more confident you become. So people don't think, when you're speaking, if you're speaking about something confidently and you've got the answers when they ask the questions, I think that's a big thing. I think when I was younger, I would read a lot of books and think, oh, I know this, I'll just say this, you know, and it was like, then if somebody asked you a question, you don't have the answer, then you look, you know, players want to know, do you know what I mean? Players want to know the coach knows the answer, do you know what I mean? But that's why I like the accept and correct, because everybody can make a mistake and accept and correct. And you just got, I think the other thing that I'd say to any coach is be honest. If you make a mistake, just tell them you've made a mistake. I think players appreciate that. You just can't do it every day.
Yeah, yeah. And how does that approach sit with within the league that you're coaching in just now in Germany? Is there coaches with similar outlooks, or you know, are you standing out from the crowd with this, you know, this the approach that you've got to coaching? Or
I don't know. I think in Germany, obviously the language is different. It takes my team probably 3 months to understand what I'm saying for a start.
Scottish to English and English to German.
So that's a wee bit different, but I think they get used to it. And I think, I don't know, last year was great for me personally. For the team, it was fantastic. We're a 13th place team and we finished third. And then and the team played so well, and I get coach of the year because of that, because they played so well. The players make that happen. So people noticed what we're doing. People talked about our identity of play and how we look like we're having fun and how we were hard working and how we were relentless. So people noticed how the team was playing for sure. Again, this year, we're doing really well again this year. You know, we're in third or fourth place just now. I think we're in fourth place. So it's definitely working. So I think every coach is different. I don't think every coach is the same, Barry. I think every coach has to have his style. You can't copy someone, because I think the biggest thing is you have to be yourself. You can't be false. Like if you're false, you know, Stevens played at a high level than Adam. They'll tell you if you're false, the players catch you out. If you're false, do you know what I mean? Like I just try to be myself, and seems to see it's working for a long time. So I just stick with it. Do you know what I mean? I just try to be myself and try to be honest all the time. I don't think there's no point in lying. Do you know what I mean? You're going to fail if you lie.
Yeah, you get found out, don't you?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Stephen, are we going to move on to some questions from the people?
Yeah, Barry, you're on the mic. You want to keep going?
Yeah, I'll ask some of them. Okay, so there's a few in here. We'll just go through them. So the thing with this, Pete, is that there are all sorts of questions from all age ranges, from the kids and the coaches and that. So literally could be anything.
Sorry.
So Dan Campbell, how does the GB team mentally prepare for games?
I think players these days, you know, they get themselves ready. So they want to come to the rink and be the best version they can be themselves. I think as a team, coaches have different styles. You know, we do like pre-scouts, you know, and we try to get to the rink, and then everything's just give the guys the time to get going, maybe a little short meeting. You know, a lot of the stuff's done before we get to the rink. Even in Germany just now, we don't have as many meetings because of the social distancing. So I do a lot of the stuff through Zoom, and a lot of the stuff gets sent to a WhatsApp group. So they have the 5-on-5 clips, the PK clips, the PP clips, and face-offs. So, and then it's all about just being prepared for the game and being ready, and you know, making sure we're at it. You know, I think that's important, and keeping to our standards. So I think players are pretty good these days. If you're in a good culture, they know what's expected, and no player wants to play bad. Do you know what I mean? Every player wants to play good. So I think that it's important that they bring themselves. You know, they know how to get themselves ready, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Harris McMillan from Lanarkshire, he asks, what stuff do you recommend us doing during lockdown? Shooting or fitness or skills or any bits and pieces?
I think you can do all that stuff. I think fitness is huge because a lot of people were sitting around just now. I'm doing the same, you know, and I think fitness makes you feel good as well, the mental well-being. So I think it's good to get out there, and I think the corona and the lockdown, you want to get the lungs going with the air. I think that's important as well. I think people should remember that in general health and general mental health. And I think all skills can always be practicing stick handling, passing, shooting. Do you know what I mean? I think you should do all those things. Do you know, I think it's good to practice all those things. I mean, you watch any top thing about an NHL player just now, and they're in their houses with all these millions of dollars, but most of them are shooting gallery out the back and stuff. Do you know, they're not the best players because they just sit in the house and play computer games. You know what I mean? They put a lot of effort in and they do a lot of extra training, so they should do as much as they can for sure, and then keep busy and stay active. I think kids these days too much computers. Do you know what I mean? I think I remember the first time I seen a computer. It was Stephen might remember this, a Commodore or a Spectrum 40. We never had all these games back in the day.
I was a Spectrum guy.
You know, so it's different these days. But I think being active is everything. I think the one thing that this pandemic will teach everybody is how we miss the little things. You know, we don't get to go out. We don't get to see everybody. We don't get to just go and play. You know, you've got as much electronic stuff and computers and movies you want. I think people would do anything to get out the house now. That's the one positive thing that's going to come out of this. I think people realise what is important.
Yeah. Okay. Cooper Colley asks, what is your proudest moment as head coach of Team GB?
Oh, I think I spoke about three of them. I thought like Belfast was amazing to see. You know, Ross Cowley played his last game ever for GB in that game, and they won a gold medal, and he was crying a minute to go. And Clarkey was in that. All the older, the real guys been there for years, and Sheds broke the scoring record, and there was a lot of amazing things happened in that tournament. That was one. I think obviously getting to Pool A was just that was something just amazing. You know, like that's something dreams are made of. But I mean, that France game was just through the roof. You know, that has to be top. Do you know what I mean? The first one's really close. I know it was Pool C, but to see the guys, the first one was amazing because they were dying for it. It was amazing to see that. But when Ben Davies scored, I think that feeling was just wow. This was, you know, unbelievable. But I think the proudest moment was the first one. I think Belfast, because so many things were achieved in that tournament. So many people were proved wrong. So many guys had waited years to get something, and I was so happy to see them, the experienced guys, doing huge servants. Do you know what I mean? Again, Colin Shields breaking the scoring record was amazing. Do you know, like, to be all coming in one tournament. But the one that makes me shake is definitely the Pool A goal. That was insane. Do you know, that was something that you just can't. You don't see that much. Do you know what I mean? Something like that happening.
Yeah, yeah. That sounds like that's a harder question than what it looks.
Yeah, because I think there was three amazing moments. There was for different reasons. Like when you look around your team and you see them. When you win, I was looking to see everybody else and see what they're doing, because I think it's great to remember things about other people. And in the second year, I never even done the celebrations because they took me to an interview and I missed everything. So I didn't even see anything. I missed the whole thing. And I made sure the last year that I didn't get, so I went on the ice the last year so they couldn't take me away. So I didn't miss the last year because I learned from the year before. So I learned from a mistake, letting them take me to an interview the year before, and I bidden the interview the next year in Pool A so I could be with the players and have some fun. So
that's it. Always learning.
Barry, can I just jump in there? Peter,
yeah.
And see, when you got to Pool A and then you stayed in Pool A, did you phone up Seth?
No, Seth was here. I like Seth a lot, but Seth never said it in a bad way, but it was a trigger point. It was a trigger point of, did he think I took the team as far as they could? And I was like, inside I was kind of going, you know, I've come out the locker room and I see the guys saying, sorry, wished I won that. And they were all gutted. And, you know, Matthew Myers was nearly was crying, I think, if I remember right. In fact, I've got a great story about Matthew Myers in a minute. So Matthew Myers, a really emotional person, like great guy, like loves GB, he's Welsh, passionate. And I remember coming up to him and he said that question, and I thought, you know what, is that really what people think? Because if you looked at the performances of these teams, you know, how well we played the last 2 years, and we're nearly there, and that spurred everybody on those stories. But a quick story about Matthew Myers. So we score the equalising goal in Hungary. So the place is quiet, and we have 16.4 seconds left. So Matthew Myers is our best face-off guy. So I'm like, the draw's in the middle of the ice, and I'm like, right, they called a timeout, so we could draw a draw up. So I goes, Matthew, you're going to go, and he goes, and he turned, and he said, he was tears in his eyes, I can't go. And I'm like, what? He goes, this is too much for me. I cannot go on the ice. And I was like, oh my God. I'm looking at and that's what it meant to people. This is a guy that's played thousands of league games. He's played in the East Coast. He's played for GB all his life, and he could not go on the ice. That's what it meant to these players. They were so enthralled by going to play pool age, you know, the pressure of it, you know, and that it's a really different way. But no, listen, Seth's been really supportive for me the whole way through. That's why I said his name, because I think it was a great question, but it was a wrong question. Do you know what I mean? And he never said it to be bad, but that question pushed me even harder to prove everybody that no, we were going the right way. The process was right.
So you'll be taking credit then.
Yeah, probably.
Callum McHattie, he's asking, what off-ice drills do the GB team do, and how many times a week?
Yeah, we don't I don't really know what the players are doing right now. I'm sure they're doing a lot of things in the gym and probably a lot of cardio, and getting a nice whenever they can. But that as they get older, a lot of the stuff's done in the club teams, so the pro teams. So I don't really know what they're getting up to. Really, I would imagine a lot of it is more fitness. But you know, you can go on YouTube and you can see a lot of good things on there. YouTube's a great library for stealing and unbelievable ideas on there. You know, there's some really great skills coaches out there now that they share their videos, and you can take all that stuff and use any of them.
Yep. Okay. Raymond Simpson says, thanks for taking the time tonight, Peter. With all the restrictions that we are all facing right now, how are you keeping up with monitoring the developing players or finding new talent for GB?
Yeah, I don't think there's really an answer to it. I think earlier on I spoke about the Elite Series. It's great to see some younger players getting an opportunity. So I think we see what happens with that. You know, I think if there's no hockey playing, it's pretty hard. You know, GB's a part-time voluntary job. Do you know what I mean? Like we don't get paid for it. Do you know what I mean? That's everything we do is part-time for them. You know, the same as the players. So all year round, we try and keep an eye on it as much as we can. Like I told you, my Saturday night in Germany last year was watching Elite League. You know, as much as I could, watch as many games as I could. Maybe I wanted to watch a couple of players and watch them. But yeah, I think it's not really there. But I think the Elite Series again is going to be great to see if some of the young guys shine.
Yeah. Cooper Colley again. He said, so his question is, have you ever met an NHL player? But I guess I would change that slightly to say, obviously, being in Pool A and stuff, is there any sort of cool moments where you ended up in company?
I remember, you know what, a really cool moment was after we beat France. We were in the corner at the bottom down the stairs, and Team Canada were next to the team. And when the French were at the top actually as well, we're all in the one corridor at the one side. And when the boys came off, the whole Team Canada team were out with like a guard of honour and clapping and cheering for them. Like they were enthralled by it. Honestly, I really believe for what it was, that was a game of the tournament. I think everybody thought that because it was so wild, you know, and to see guys coming out and high-fiving the British guys and shouting, that's awesome, you're coming back. I think people were like, you know, really respectful of how we don't have a big hockey nation, and they were there. No one was taking advantage of the team or laughing at them. They were just amazed that they made it. People from outside the country understood how massive achievement it was. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think we forget that in the country. I think we don't realise what those guys done. You know, because they were brought up training once or twice a week as well. They were brought up having to be driven everywhere. they were brought up going to the national team once for 3 times before they went away in the junior national teams. They never had anything special, these guys, and they're just an inspiration to everybody if they realise, you know, look what they've done. Do you know what I mean? They've came from nothing to playing in Pool A, and they all work so hard and give so many sacrifices to up their game. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's a really amazing story if you think about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And it's something we should be shouting from the rooftops about, you know, more and more in this country. Harris McMillan again, he says, actually, what does that say? If you're willing to tell us, are there any Scottish players in your GB? I guess he means the long list for the World Championships. He wants to know where the Scots going.
I think it'd be wrong for me to tell you who's in the long list. Do you know what I mean? I think it's a tough question to answer. Do you know what I mean? I think
he's saying if you whisper it, there's only 61 other people in here, so what could go wrong?
Adam Walker just leaned in there for that answer too.
He's got his skates looked at. eCity Interactive. Sure that's not your real name. How do you give constructive feedback? What has worked for you and what is the process?
I think feedback is important, but I don't think you have to feedback in every mistake. I just think the game's full of mistakes. If a coach just starts picking at every mistake, it's just going to become a negative environment. It's a waste of time. I think you've got to pick the right mistakes. And I think proof is a good idea. You know, I think video is a great way. I don't do much negative video in front of the team. I do a lot of one-to-one stuff like that. I don't believe that's a really good thing. But I just think if it's worth pointing out, then, you know, negative feedback. I just don't think one mistake or 2 mistakes really matter. Do you know what I mean? Guys know when they make a mistake. Do you know what I mean? Guys, like, especially at a higher level, they know they're not stupid. You know, but I try to stay as calm as I can these days. I try to, you know, if he makes 2 mistakes the same way, then it's a bit different. Do you know what I mean? Then it gets a wee bit more straight with them. And if they make 3, they probably, the same way, they probably don't play anymore. Do you know what I mean? They probably sit at the end of the bench for a little while. But I think that's the big thing I've learned is not I used to jump in mistakes. I think I was really bad for that. You know, when I was in Glasgow, I learned a lot. I had a lot of good guys there. I really like Matt Becker. He was a real cool guy to talk to. And I think he rated me as a coach, but he used to tell me little things. And when I think back now, I think he was trying to help me. Do you know what I mean? I think he was really telling me, you've got a great mind for hockey, but you don't need to tell us everything all the time. Do you know? And I've learned that. Do you know? And I think you just try to do well. And I think sometimes you can try too hard. So I think the best way to speak to people is direct, simple, and with the right tone. Do you know what I mean? I think you got to, and it's timing as well. I think time and tone is a good way of putting it. Does that make sense? If you're going to give somebody feedback, I think you should think. I think what's the timing and how's your tone going to be? Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be playing a 1-1 hockey game with 40 seconds to go and just giving it to someone. Do you know what I mean? Where you create unrest and you create panic, because players feed off your panic. Do you know what I mean? Like, you got to try and stay. You want to be passionate, but you don't want to be panic. Do you know what I mean? There's two different tones and mindset.
Yep. Okay. Another one from Harris McMillan. Are you gutted that we missed out on the Canada GB warm-up match earlier in the year because of the COVID?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool I don't think people realise as well, Team Canada to come and play in the UK. How sick's that? Do you know what I mean? Like, they were going to come stacked up as well. That would have been a huge honour for our country to have Team Canada playing here. I just think that kind of shows you where it's came, you know, because I think honestly that people would love to come to the UK to play games. You know, it's a great country and there's a lot of good things to go and see. Do you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure they would have come and played that game and probably went somewhere for a couple of days to see the country, you know, and used it as a team building exercise. But that would have been amazing to see those players. Everybody could have seen how good they actually are. Do you know what I mean? Like, when we were playing against Canada, I was just kind of standing, just thinking, this is, this is ridiculous. Like, they're just doing things and you're just like, oh my goodness. Like, and you can't say, come on, you need to get closer, because you can't get close, do you know? And it's like, oh, you're, like, they make a pass and it's like, you think, I could have a stick in that lane, but really, they're so good. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is another world. It's just a privilege to be that close to see that. Do you know what I mean?
Yep. Okay. I'll do one more and then you can go, Stephen. Brody K, he asks, how do you mentally prepare players to compete against the best countries in the world and overcome the intimidation of playing against the best players?
I think we said that in the presentation. Like, we weren't intimidated. Do you know what I mean? We just tried to stay with the same mindset and the same identity and play, and just really compete. Take the thought out of it. You know, like, just play the game. You know, I think you keep moving, adjusting constantly. It just becomes players have to think too much. Do you know what I mean? We wanted to stick to what we're good at. We did adjust little things, but not too much. But I don't think the guys were intimidated. I actually think, I remember when we played Team USA, guys were like smiling in the room at each other before it. And I'm like, what are you laughing at? And they're like, we're going to play USA. You know, and they were kind of like calm and laughing, like, we're playing USA tonight. And I was like, what? And they're like, Patrick Kane? How sick is this going to be to play against Patrick Kane? Do you know, and they were saying things like that. Like, they were really relaxed about it, looking forward to try and see if they could challenge themselves and stay close to them. I think that's what it was. I think we took it for, the guys were fantastic. They took it the right way.
Lynchy, you want to take over?
Sure, yeah, no problem. Okay, so Greg B has asked, do you feel that teams in the UK should follow the German example of having junior teams? And would there be a benefit from UK junior teams playing against German junior teams?
What do you think he means by junior teams? Does he mean, do you know, we have junior teams in the UK? Does he mean the club?
Is there more of a sort of tiered system in Germany?
Yeah, there is a system, yeah, for sure.
You mentioned at the start there was more of a
pathway. Yeah. I think it would be, if there was a, you know, I talked about the draft thing. If there was a way of doing that even every 2 years and bringing some younger guys in and then farming them out to play, you know, in the NIHL or something if they're not going to play, I think that'd be a brilliant route to go. Do you know what I mean? I think if we have the players good enough, I keep saying this and people don't like it, but, you know, we've played, Stephen, and you have to be good enough. Do you know what I mean? We can't just say, let's just let people play. That's not what it's about. We've got to have goals, work hard, do what it takes, become better enough, become good enough to play there. You want to be good enough to play there. I think that's the important thing. I think there's a lot of things Germany do well. Like, you see the kid that's just went into the NHL this year to Ottawa. So he's sick. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're creating players. But there's a bigger hockey situation over here. Like, they have 3 professional leagues. Do you know what I mean? Like, they have an elite under-20 league. The development programs, most programs have employed head coach and 2 coaches, so it's different. I think I would like to see UK go that way. You know, I think at least a head coach or a regional coach. You know, I think that would help everybody to have somebody to lean on. Does that make sense? I think. Yeah. So
in Germany, is there a steady flow of junior players coming into the DEL and the leagues below?
Well, there is, but they're not all coming for the one club. You know, Mannheim and Cologne and Berlin are the powerhouses. They take all the best kids and they have academy programs. And you'll see they'll keep 1 or 2, and the rest will just be, after 2 years, they leave the program and they go to other teams. But in club level, it's hard. You know, there's a team in our league, Kefbaren, they do an unbelievable job. They've got a great junior program. They're bringing players through constantly. But it's just the same over here. It's all down to what the structure is and the process is and how the ice time is. They got a lot more ice time over here. That's the one thing. I think most teams train 3 days a week, plus they got off ice.
Yeah.
So it's pretty structured.
Peter, sorry to jump in. How does hockey relate in terms of how big is the sport compared to football?
Hockey, football, and handball are the 3 biggest sports in Germany. Hockey's big over here. Like DL's big league. You know, it's recognised. Football's number 1, of course. They love football, but hockey is there, and I'm sure handball's the other one. They love handball.
Handball's a state.
But hockey's not a minority sport over here.
Yeah.
They're a Pool A nation, Martin. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? They're a recognised Pool A nation now. So they have a program. Do you know, a development program? There's new ice halls everywhere now. There's a lot of development centres. Like they've grown it. Do you know what I mean? They've put a lot into it. It took them time, but they've definitely gone in the right direction.
I think Draisaitl and Stutzel just take it up a level with the exposure.
Yeah, there's other guys as well. There's a few, you know, and I think this year they had, I think, 3 in the top 25 draft. Like, that's unbelievable for a country like Germany to have 3 of them, you know, and there's a couple more. Whether they keep coming like that, it's a different matter, but they want to probably get to the stage every 2 years. They have a couple of high draft picks, do you know what I mean? Like, I think that's important to them.
Okay. iPhone has asked 2 questions. First one, do you think ice hockey standards coming out of Scotland in the last, say, 5 years has improved? And if yes, why in your opinion? And the second question is, what coaching style works best with juniors, and does it change as the age groups get older?
It's hard for me to answer the question about the hockey in Scotland, but I know when I went to the conference 2 years ago, the young Scottish teams were pretty good. I remember watching I think it was a couple of years ago, the 13s and the 15s. I think they were quite good, actually, if I remember right. I'm sure that was the 2 age groups. I went one day. There was some good players there. You know, we've always been Scottish, Stephen, I'll tell you as well, Matt. Like, you know, we've always, in a way, been behind England. They've got more to pick from. Do you know what I mean? But we used to compete really well against them. I remember junior internationalists. Like, we used to have good games against them. I remember the first few years we used to get whipped by them. But then there was a real influx of players, like, you know, a lot came out of Kirkcaldy, then Murrayfield had a batch, Glasgow had some, then a few out here, McWilliam and I, and you know, they started getting players. I just think that I like the one thing I like about Scotland is that break every 6 weeks, if they still do that. I think that's a really cool thing when they brought the conference teams together. I think it was a really innovative idea. Do you know what I mean? I think to get them together and push them at an elite level a bit more, I think that's a really good idea, because the one thing I say that, quite what shall I say this? It is a sport for all, but I think that we get too involved with the sport for all, and we forgot about the elite player a little bit for a long time. And I think we should, if sport for all means, we should push the elite player as well to another level. I think that's important, and I don't think we should be scared to do that. I think we should, as the country in the UK, should be wanting to push the elite player as well, because the elite player, if he's a good person, or she's a good person, actually raises the level of the kids there as well, and brings everybody along, and people inspire to that. And I think we got away from that a little bit. So coaching wise for kids, I'd say it's a sport for all. We should inspire the kids. They should learn lots of skills, but they should learn how to play the game and compete as well at the right time. But I think for me, I'd like to see more for the elite kid as well. I don't mean that in a bad way. I just think we could do more. Do you know what I mean? And that's not playing more in a game. Do you understand what I mean, Stephen? That's across the board in the country. That's why I like the conference thing, where they go to, I think they used to, when I was in Dumfries with Okanagan, they were doing it. They were coming, and we played a couple of Scottish teams at Okanagan, actually. That's how I found out about it. We came up and we played against 2 of the age groups over 2 days. They were having a little national camp, and I really liked that, because they don't do that in England. So that was a real positive for me, and I think maybe that's why, you know, they were getting better players. But I think the other thing was, a lot of good hockey players who played when I grew up started coaching the kids as well in Fife. I know that, and I think that maybe helped a little bit as well, to be honest. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, some good points there. Definitely good points, Pete. Pete Layden's asked, what's the one grassroots improvement we could make that you think may be lacking across all clubs?
I just think it's pushing the elite player. I'm not trying to be horrible, but I just think we forget about them. Over here, they don't forget about the elite player. They push everybody. And I think if you're talking about making clubs better, I think there should be like somebody, whether it's a full-time head coach or whether you have a deal. Like, that's why I started that pro coaching thing, because I was willing to pimp myself to try and share ideas and develop coaches, because I think for our players to get better, our coaching has to get more ideas and more in a process and more structure and more support. Coaches need support. Do you know what I mean? I think that's a big thing. And it's hard for, you know, if a business is a car dealership, they don't just they'll send people everywhere to learn different things. Do you know what I mean? And I think we have to be more open-minded to try and really help the coaching, because coaches do make better players. Do you know what I mean? There's no doubt in it. People go to a private school, teaching's better. Do you know what I mean? There's better education, they say, better circumstances. So I think for me, I would like to see more for the coaches, not just the kids. Do you know what I mean? I think the coaches need more support. And that's not knocking the SIH coaching program, the EIHA coaching program. I just think they do loads already, and there can be more options for coaches. Do you know what I mean? Because I think the one thing that scares me, and I used to do it, was I went on all those coaching sites and YouTube and just stealing too many ideas, and my mind was all over the place. I had too much going on in my mind. Do you know? And you're thinking, I know this, but you don't know it. Do you know what I mean? Approaches. I think it would be good to, you know, I've got that hub, and the hub was an idea of trying to help coaching. Do you know what I mean? Not just players, because we do hockey schools everywhere, you know. And I goes, what is it for coaches? Like in the summer, what can they get? Do you know what I mean? Well, how can a coach call somebody and have a conversation with them? Or get a difficult parent, or I've not done this good job with the team, or how can I do this? I think every coach needs that, and that's tough for an association to do that. Do you know what I mean? I think that's really tough, and I guess that's why it'd be good if we could help coaches more. I think it would help everything, because I think we have coaches with passion, and we have young players with passion, girls and boys, and we just have to try and all get better together and share. I think that's important.
Cool. Next question, to put you on the spot here. What separates a good coach from a great coach?
A great coach is lucky. I don't know. I think who is a great coach? Do you know what I mean? Like, you can be a great coach one day, and then 2 weeks later you're terrible. Do you know what I mean? You've lost 4 games. I just think a good coach is a guy who is caring. He listens to his players, but he takes control. And I think who knows what he wants. You know, there's no mixed communication signals. There's, you know, I think accept and correct, but inspiring people. You know, and I think, you know, you shouldn't like your coach. You should respect your coach. Do you know what I mean? You should want to. You should make you feel like you can speak to him and tell him things, or he. But I think it's hard. What's a great coach? People judge a great coach by results, don't they? I remember having a coach called Mike Spears when I played junior, and we get beat every game, and I thought he was a brilliant coach. He tried to teach things, and it was in air, and he used to teach things that a different way that I look back now and I try and remember that. I talk about compete, and he used to make us skate up the wall. You know, they used to have that wall in the rink, in the small rink. There's no barrier there, and they used to. It's a real wall, and he would make them skate and be bumping people into the wall. He was trying to teach them to take contact. He was ahead of his time. I loved him. Jackson McBride as well. He was a brilliant junior coach, but we never won, so they weren't great coaches. Everybody's judged by the great coach because they win. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that's you know. I think a great coach, everybody has their reason for a great coach, but I think a great coach has got to be a good leader and a good teacher for sure. But he's got to be strong, or she's got to be strong.
Okay. We're getting through them, Pete. Mr. Inquisitive Harris McMillan again. Do you prefer coaching in Germany or Great Britain?
Well, right now, Germany, because, you know, there's no hockey in Great Britain, but I really enjoy the change in Germany. It was something that I was, like, I'm happy my wife let me do it, because it was really something that I wanted to try. Like, I enjoy the World Championships and different types of hockey, and I wanted to try and become a better coach. I wanted to learn more and see different things, and I really enjoy it. But I'm sure I'm going to come back to the UK at some point for sure. Do you know what I mean? That's something I would definitely want to do. Just don't know when.
You never know. You never know. Next one, you spoke about failure. First 2 years of GB coaching. How did you bounce back? How did you keep positive, and how did you keep your own confidence up?
Well, it's realistic. We never got unconfident. We were hurt, you know, and we wanted to get it done, and for everybody, you know. And I think the hardest thing was for the boys. Do you know what I mean? They wanted it bad, but I don't think we were hurt. I just think it's just reassessing things, and it's listening to comments, and it's taking what you want from it. And it's also being honest, like watching the games back and saying, how were we? We were good in that tournament. Great in the first tournament as well. So I think it was another learning curve. I think it needs to happen sometimes, because that made us a stronger group. Do you know what I mean? 100% made us hungrier than ever. It was a positive experience in the end. It wasn't negative.
Okay, Gary Morris wants to know, who's the most talented player you've ever worked with? I'd like to ask the similar question just slightly differently, as who's the best player or who's the favourite player you've worked with? But first of all, most talented.
Just anybody.
Anybody, yeah.
I think in the national team, probably most talented is probably Ben O'Connor. That's talent-wise, like things he can do with a puck and stuff is insane. For sure. I think the best player, I don't know. It's a tough one. There's been lots of good players, especially at club level, really good players. That's a tough one, actually. I think the best player, as in a terms of productivity for me as a coach, and winning, is probably Robert Farmer. Because he's big moments, he stood up, do you know what I mean, and done things. So I remember him as being a big, do you know, it's not that I'm not saying Bobby's not a good player, Robert is a good player. But for me, for what he's done for the country at certain times, huge, do you know what I mean? Huge. But there's been amazing players like Jonathan Weaver was great for years, Shed was unbelievable, Dowd, you know, was coming of strength, O'Connor, Ben Bounds, Murph, Lyle, there's been loads, do you know what I mean? It's a tough question, you know, because I think the team, I'm more of a team guy. Like, I think I'm all about the system and the team, do you know what I mean? I think that overpowers in the end. But big moments, I think Farmer, even under 20, some of the stuff he done there, penalty shots and that, it's insane, do you know what I mean? He seems to just come out of those big gangly legs of his and his hands and do special things at special times, and it's, you know, and makes a difference, you know, like. So I think as on moments, he's probably going to look back at some of the things he done, the tying goal against France, scoring the goal to tie the game up against Hungary. Like, they're huge moments in British history, you know, for ice hockey.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, Harris McMillan again. Harris, I think you're setting a record for questions tonight.
He needs banned.
Where do you think the best path is to get to the NHL?
I don't think there's any path. I think you should just dream and keep working hard. I think you should all take a look at Liam Kirk. He never went away, stayed in the country, worked hard. Liam's done really well. You know, I guess the corona kind of hurts him a little bit in terms of what he was going to do, because he loses last year in major junior. But, you know, I don't think there's any pathway. I think the biggest pathway is set goals, do what it takes, work hard, stay humble, you know, and keep learning, I think, and see what it takes you.
Harris is on the right path anyway. He's at Lanarkshire Lightning.
Does he ask you that many questions every night?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, on the road home with his dad.
No, I think a lot of the kids are looking forward to listening to Liam Kirk on Friday night along with Sam Duggan. Okay, Peter, a couple more here. Andy Traynor, do you feel the lack of ice time creates a glass ceiling for British players?
I don't know. I just think that I don't know what the kids do anymore, whether they train once or twice or 3 times a week. I guess
every club's different. Some are 1, some are 3.
You know, like I said before, a lot of the guys that came through that team there didn't have a lot when they were younger. I think if you can train 3 times, it'd be fantastic for everybody. But I think some teams could train for 2 times with a great coach and get more out of the time. Do you know what I mean? I think it's all down to how the time's used. Do you know what I mean? And I think, you know, I think we're in a situation in our country we have to make do with what we have. But I think the other question the kid asked about the skills is you can do lots of other things, do you know what I mean, to try and develop yourself as well. It doesn't all have to be on the ice.
No, this was, especially right now, we're trying to encourage kids to do all sorts of stuff off the ice, whether it be fitness stuff, skill stuff, stick handling, shooting, anything, just to keep them doing what they do. That was the last question. We got through it. Martin, anything you want to add, Martin, Barry?
No, I think it's been great, Pete. I think I think that you're giving the kids a really good insight into the mind and what it's going to take to do things for GB and stuff like that. I think it's great.
I think they should just enjoy it. You know, work hard and enjoy it, and just I think that's the biggest thing. I think you should think too far ahead sometimes. Do you know what I mean?
Baz, anything to add?
Yeah, no, I'm the same. Just thanks for coming on and giving us your time. And thanks to Harris for the 300 questions.
Yeah, I'm going to send Harris a Christmas card.
Right, so and then from me, everybody, again, yeah, Peter, thanks very much. That's been really, really great, insightful. Really great feel-good story about the GB team over the last few years. It's been great to listen to you, share that journey with us. Kids, can we get a big 2 thumbs up for Pete? The ones that are on camera. Perfect, thank you. Oh, some adults doing it as well. Great.